Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dylan Luss with the National Weather Service in Atlanta / Peachtree City, Georgia, and this will be your weekly weather briefing for Thursday, October 6, 2022. Just a couple of quick highlights up front. We've got no rain in the forecast until at least the middle to end of next week, so it's going to be pretty dry, and this will be a pretty dry briefing as a result. Cold front pushes through the area Friday and Saturday. That's going to give us another shot of cool and dry air and may bring some of the coolest air of the season into portions of northern Georgia. Otherwise, with all of that drier air, we will have fire danger that's going to be present probably through the weekend. Anticipating that we'll have fire danger statements most days. We already have one out today. Likely we'll see one tomorrow and possibly even on Saturday. We're not expecting to meet red flag criteria at this time, however. The only other thing we'll talk about is we do have a potential tropical cyclone 13 that has formed. We're not expecting any impacts from that to the United States. So looking at our current conditions, frankly, it's been a beautiful start to the day across the southeast. I grabbed this satellite picture this morning. You can see the sun kind of rising over the area, and well, pretty much over the entire state, we've got almost no clouds in the sky. Temps this morning were a little on the cool side in some areas. We had pretty much widespread temps in the 40s, and you can see Blairsville there even made it down into the 30s today. One caveat to that, we do have a fire danger statement that's in effect today. I've kind of highlighted that. That's the peach color that's over here. I've kind of circled it for you in the red ink as well. Basically in these areas, we're going to see relative humidities get low enough, and it's been long enough since we've had any rain or anything like that, that we do have some elevated fire danger conditions today. As always with that, just refer to your local burn permitting authorities as to whether you may burn outside, and if you do, please use caution. Those fires could spread pretty easily today. Looking at our forecast, going today, tomorrow, and Saturday, the only big thing of note here is that we do have a cold front pushing into the area, as was previously mentioned. That's going to be pushing in from the northwest, push through the area Friday into Saturday. We're not expecting any precipitation with this whatsoever. This should be a dry front as it pushes through. The only thing it's going to do is bring us cooler air and dry weather in behind it. Looking at the temperatures, today and going into tomorrow, we'll have temps in the 80s across most of the area. We're going to warm up even further tomorrow, kind of ahead of that front before it starts to push through. So we could start to push even like some of the upper 80s down there in portions of central Georgia, going into southern Georgia. But it is October, and so we are cooling off at night, especially given that we're pretty dry out there. So we're still getting down into the 50s and even the 40s. On the overnight, going into Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, that's when that cold front starts to push in. So you can see our temperatures, at least through the northern portion of the state, start to get down into the 70s. And Blairsville's there even has a little high temp of 68. So fall is going to make yet another appearance for us this weekend, Saturday and a Sunday. Saturday night looks like it may be our coolest night. We've got temperatures that are going to duck down into the 40s and 50s, and maybe could even see some of those 30s in far, far northern Georgia and some of those elevated locations. Monday into Tuesday next week, we pretty much just kind of stay in the upper 70s and 80s across the area. Not too cold, not too warm, just right. It's very nice October weather for us. I mentioned that fire danger a little bit earlier. We do have the fire danger statement that's in effect today, and you can see this is just our minimum relative humidities for today in the upper left, tomorrow in the upper right, and then what we're forecasting on Saturday as well. 25%, 4 hours, basically spending about 4 hours at 25% or lower is generally one of our thresholds for putting out a fire danger statement. You can see we're going to be hovering at or near that in a lot of locations across the area each of these days. Saturday, we start to see, things are coming back up a little bit, but some of our models may be being a little bit conservative, given that that's still a couple of days out. Generally, when we get a little bit closer and we get some of our better resolution models, we can start to see those relative humidities tank a little bit more. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on that. We could see fire danger statements. In fact, I'll say we'll likely see something issued for tomorrow, and we could also see something on Saturday as a result. The only other thing, or I guess newsworthy thing that we'll talk about is we do have a potential tropical cyclone 13 that has developed all the way down in the Caribbean. Um, Unlike our previous storm Ian, which obviously was pretty much expected to be a threat to the U.S. from the start of its formation, we have the exact opposite going on here. We do not anticipate that this will have any impacts on the U.S. whatsoever. I've got the forecast track for you right here, expected to go into Nicaragua, and you can see this is just one of our ensembles, but they pretty much all look the same on the right here, showing kind of that spaghetti plot of different potential tracks of the system, and pretty much all of the models are showing this going into Central America. So no impacts once again to the U.S. expected from this. Last, we'll talk about just the outlook kind of going into the middle to end of next week from our friends over at the Climate Prediction Center. Both precipitation and temperature are frankly looking to be near normal. So it's not going to be too hot, not going to be too cold, and our chances of precipitation, we are expecting them to return, but that isn't anything that's, out of the ordinary for October for us. So in summary, we've got no rain in the forecast until the middle of end of next week. It's going to be dry. With that, we've got a cold front that's going to be dry as it pushes through the area Friday into Saturday. That's going to bring us another shot of cool, dry air, and it could be some of the coolest air we've seen so far this year, especially in North Georgia. We do have fire danger statements out today and anticipate that we'll probably need them basically through Saturday at the very least. And then we're not expecting impacts from potential tropical cyclone 13 in the United States. Thank you so much. This has been our briefing for this week. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, want to reach out to us, phone number's right here. You can always find these on the briefing page. We also post them to our YouTube, and you can always reach us at Twitter or Facebook. Thanks so much.